Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Iho and her stepmother Itusi. Iho was an orphan. Her mother died when she was a baby, and her father married Otiti few years later. Iho was her father's pride, and he loved her so much even on his deathbed. Otiti hated Iho even to the extent she wishes her death. After Iho's father's death, she was left alone with her stepmother. Iho would do all the chores in the house, wash her stepmother's clothes, fetch water from the stream, and go to the market to sell goods for her stepmother. The only food Iho was allowed to eat was leftovers which she used to share with the chicken. Iho never disobeyed her stepmother. Even though Otiti comes up with an impossible task, Iho would come up with a solution. One day, Iho came back from the market and she was sick and unable to go to the stream to fetch water. The next morning, she took some water from Otiti's drum to do the house chores. When Otiti came back home, she asked who took from her water, and Iho told her that it was her and that she used it to wash the plates in the kitchen. Otiti gave Iho a very hot slap, saying she should have fetched her own water even though she was sick. Iho went on her knees and pleaded with Otiti, but it was to no avail. Otiti asked Iho to go and fetch her water from a river known as Ede. It was a river surrounded by spirits. Iho cried and cried, but her stepmother showed her no mercy. Iho took the pot and embarked on the journey to the river. On her way, she saw some spirits, and when they were trying to kill her, she sang to them and told them the reason she came to the river. They had pity on her and showed her the right path to the river. Iho fetched enough water and ran as fast as she could, as instructed by the spirit. When she got home, her stepmother was shocked to see her because no one has ever returned from Ede before. She thought that would be the end of Iho and that the spirit will feast on her. Iho handed the pot of water to her stepmother. Otiti carried the water, and when she was about to drink from it, an unexpected lightning struck her and she became blind. The villagers were shocked and Iho's stepmother began to beg for forgiveness. Iho forgave her stepmother, but her sight never came back, as that was the punishment for all her wickedness. This is the end of this story. Thank you for listening to this story. Once upon a time, there lived a princess called Arike. Arike was her parents' only daughter and her parents loved her so much. Arike, on the other hand, was a very sad princess. She was sad because of her appearance. The villagers always gossip her whenever she goes to the river. Because of this, she decided to be covering her face so as for people not to see her. Although her friends encouraged her, she never had confidence in herself. One day, her father, the king, had a guest, a native daughter from a far village. Arike walked into the room to inform her father that she is going out to the river with her friends. When the native daughter saw her, he asked why she was so sad, and Arike started crying. She said she was tired of being ugly and that everybody kept mocking her. The native daughter encouraged her and told her that real beauty is in the heart. Arike kept on crying. When she was about leaving, the native daughter called her and gave her a kola nut. He told her that when she wants to sleep, she should whisper her wishes into the kola nut 7 times and make sure she swallows everything before she sleeps. Arika was curious at first, and she collected the kola nut and left. When night came, Arika did exactly what the native doctor had instructed, and she went to bed. When she woke up in the morning, she discovered that she has turned into a beautiful girl. In fact, she has turned into the most beautiful girl that anyone has ever seen. She ran to her parents with so much joy and happiness, and her parents were very happy as that was what she had always wished for. Arike started flaunting her beauty in the village, and everyone who saw her was marveled. The village just praised her beauty as it had never been seen before. Soon, suitors started coming to the palace to seek for her hand in marriage. The first man came. Arike complained that he was too short. The second man came. Arike looked at him with so much disgust, saying he was not handsome enough. The third man came, and Arike insulted him, saying he was too old. The fourth man came, and Arike was sad. She said he was too fat. The fifth man came, and Arike poured him water, saying he was too poor. She became very rude, not only to men, but to everyone around her. Her friends started avoiding her because she was always calling them ugly. Arike would make her mates massage her throughout the night, and everyone was sick of her character. One morning, when Arike woke up, she discovered that she had turned into her old self. She was shocked and she screamed. Everyone came out and were shocked to see Arike. The king sent for the native doctor. When he came, he explained Arike's situation to him. The native doctor shook his head. The native named that the beauty was a test, and only kindness would. The king begged the native doctor to reverse it, but he told him that it was irreversible, and that Arike would have to accept herself as she is and change her ways. Arike was left devastated. She cried and cried and cried, and she started asking everyone she has offended for forgiveness. This is the end of this story. Thanks for watching. Once upon a time, in a little town, there lived a wealthy farmer named Akobe and his wife Ame. They had a very beautiful daughter named Ello. Ello was her mother's only daughter, and her mother always spoils her. When Ello was a child, her mother would not let her do anything. She always insisted that she was a princess and she was to be treated as one. Her mother would not let her do any chores. She would instruct the maids to do all the works and even tell them to massage Ello. Ello grew up not knowing how to do anything, not even how to wash her own clothes. Whenever Akobe tries to correct her, Ame will start a fight and said he likes maltreating Ello. Ello grew up to be the most beautiful girl in the town, and everyone admired her. Most maidens in the town envied her and the way she was treated like a princess. When Ello was of age, suitors started coming to seek her hand in marriage, but her mother would chase them, saying they were not wealthy enough. She even went as far as pouring some water, and Ello was in full support of her mother's. One day, a man called Akin came to Akobe's house to seek Ello's hand in marriage. Akin was a very successful man. He had just returned from the city. Akin met Ello on his way home and was carried away. His mother supported his decision to marry Ello as she was from a reputable family. Akin asked Ello to marry him and she agreed. Her mother was also happy as that has always been her dream for Ello. When Ello and Akin got married, Akin treated her like a princess. He would take care of her and provide everything for her. He showered her with expensive gifts and took her to cities. One day, Akin came back from work late and he was very hungry. He asked Ello to serve him food, but she said there was no food at home. Akin asked her what she ate, and she told him that her mom had sent food to her. Akin was angry and he went to the kitchen to cook some yam for himself. The next day, Akin discovered that there was no foodstuff at home. He gave Ello some money that would be enough to get everything needed in the house. He also told Ello to get cleaning agents on her way from the market before he went to work. When Akin came back from work, he was so tired and hungry. He didn't want to eat on his way from work because he was already salivating for Ello's food. Akin quickly took a warm bath and asked Ello to serve him food. To his surprise, Ello did not make any food. In fact, she has used the money to eat at a very expensive restaurant and kept no food for Akin. Akin was angry and gave Ello a last warning, but Ello made no changes. She would wake up very late and she would not do any house chores, leaving the place dirty and the house unclean. When Akin saw that Ello was not taught how to cater for the home, he decided to take matters into his hands. He sent Ello packing and he told her parents that the only way Ello was coming back to the house was if her mother teaches her how to take care of the home. And if she refuses to learn, that will be the end of the marriage. Ello and her mother left with shame and regret, and Ello became the talk of the town until she turned a new leaf. This is the end of this story. Once upon a time, in a little village, there lived a widow named Adako. Adako was a petty trader. She had a daughter named Ifoma. Ifoma was such a beautiful girl, and everyone in the village admired her. When Ifoma was of the age to marry, she had wealthy suitors coming to seek her hand in marriage, and she was very happy. But Adako's greed stood on the way. She had collected expensive gifts from 6 of Ifoma's suitors, and so promised that she would give them her daughter's hand in marriage. When Ifoma found out what her mother had done, she threatened to tell the men because she had fell in love with one of the suitors named Obina, and so cannot possibly marry all of them. Her mother begged her not to expose her and promised to handle the situation. Adaku secretly gave Ifoma to Obina and they got married without the other men knowing. The next day, Adaku went to see a very powerful witch doctor. The witch doctor was known for performing magics. She explained her predicament to him. The witch doctor asked Adaku to bring animals each for a suitor. Adaku went to the market and bought 5 different animals. She bought a cat, a dog, a goat, a parrot, and a chicken, and took them to the shrine. The witch doctor collected the animal and other items and asked Adaku to come with Ifeoma the next day, which she did. The witch doctor made some incantation on Ifeoma and the animals and asked Adaku to take them to the house and feed them. Ifeoma was very angry at her mother. When it was time to do the final ritual, Adaku did exactly what the witch doctor has instructed. When she was done, the animals turned into Ifeoma. They all had Ifeoma's look. Adaku gave their hands in marriage to the suitors. But this deception did not last for long. When the husband sent them packing one after the other, saying they were acting like animals. And it wasn't long when Adaku's secret was discovered, and she was banished from the village with her animal daughters. The moral of this story is to always be truthful and to do away with greed and deception, as it always has consequences. Once upon a time, in a village, there lived a woman named Itusi and her husband Iyere. Itusi and Iyere had children. They were very poor and could barely get food to eat. Iyere sold all his farmland to pay off his debts. Itusi and her family would work on people's farmlands, help them to clear the grass, plant crops, and do other farm works. Itusi and her family did this for years, but their income were not adding up. Their employers would pay them pennies, and sometimes they weren't paid at all. Itusi got fed up with this and decided to fix the situation no matter what will be required. She went to see a witch doctor to help her solve her financial problems. When she got to the shrine, she explained her predicament to the witch doctor and cried and begged him to help her, and he agreed. The witch doctor gave her some cowries and asked her to place them under her husband's bed, and that anything her husband lays his hands on henceforth will multiply. Itusi collected the cowries from him, and when she was about leaving, she asked the witch doctor the price which she is to pay. The witch doctor smiled at her and told her that she will know once the time comes. Itusi went home and did exactly what the witch doctor had instructed. It wasn't long when her husband's business started doing very well, and truly everything Iyere laid his hands on started flourishing and multiplying. And months later, he grew to be one of the wealthiest men in the village, owning lots of properties and farmlands. Few months later, Iyere married a second wife and bore more children. At first, Itusi was angry but later accepted her as a member of the family. One day, when Iyere was returning, he saw a very old woman who was clothed with torn clothes. The old woman was hungry and begged Iyere for some food, saying she had not eaten in days. Iyere looked at the woman with disgust and told her no, and that he doesn't have any food to give her. The old woman fell on her knees and continued to beg Iyere, but Iyere pushed her away and insulted the old woman. Few days later, the witch doctor summoned Itusi through her dreams, and Itusi went to the shrine to see him. When she got there, she asked the witch doctor if it was time for her to pay the price, and he said yes. The witch doctor brought out a calabash and showed her what her husband did to the old woman. Itusi was shocked and she started crying. The witch doctor told her that the price for the wealth was generosity and kindness. He further told Itusi to return the cowries that was given to her. Itusi begged the witch doctor, but he refused. He insisted that Itusi should return the cowries, which means all the wealth will be reversed. Itusi stood her ground and said she cannot return the cowries and that she's ready to face the repercussion. The witch doctor told Itusi that the punishment for disobeying is death, and Itusi agreed to be punished. Not too long, Itusi developed an incurable illness, and she knew her end had come. She called her husband's second wife and told her what she had done, and also told her that she was the reason her family became wealthy. The second wife was shocked. Itusi made her promise to take care of the children and her family when she's gone, and also told her that the day she maltreats the children will be the day her family loses the wealth, and she agreed to everything. Itusi gathered her family together and told them to always be kind and generous and to never look down on anyone, and they all promised to do so. When Iyere found out the cause of Itusi's sickness, he started looking for help, but it was too late. This is the end of this story. The moral of this story is to be generous and kind to people around us and those in need, and not to look down on anybody.
Thank you for listening to this story. If you want us to make more videos, hit on the like and subscribe button below and comment which country you are watching from. We love and appreciate you. Bye.